Pleasure to meet all at last, and welcome back to Why's That. So here on Why's That, I think it's better off with me saying, this is number 21 out of 65. 21st question that I got for this part of Why's That. And so, I think it's better for me to just simply say that the question right down here also has its own screenshot, and it simply says, why is that you experience rage moments almost all the time? Now, I really just can't imagine why someone would ask me something about that. Because after all, rage moments isn't something to be that public about. And I'm not kidding around with that. Of course, Facecam Specials Insurgents was one of those times where you could actually witness raging moments of my own take place. And that, of course, was because of a lot of things that have taken place. Lots of rage moments have certainly taken place, especially throughout the third part of Facecam Specials Insurgents. Because, of course, there was a lot that I have to say about it. And there's really just a lot more to it than ever, but I might as well just get down to it. I should get on down to everything about the rage moments I experienced in Nerf Secrets Revealed, Facecam Specials Insurgents, and sometimes any of my other series themselves. There were some times in Nerf Secret Revealed where, well, you probably wouldn't see me rage a lot on the camera, but of course back in the earlier days of Nerf Secret Reveal were times where, simply put, there were some things to be angry about, so that's probably all you need to know there. But going back to Facecam Specials Insurgents for a little bit, there have been a lot of rage moments in Part 3, specifically to games like Need for Speed, Ark, Spider-Man, and so on. I could go on all day about it, but still. What I'd like to say first off is that there were a couple things about Need for Speed Heat that had made me rage so hard that it's like a personal record of mine. How hard could I possibly rage? To the point of a vocal collapse, where I would no longer be able to talk again. And if you haven't seen any of the Need for Speed episodes on Nerf Secrets Revealed or Facecam Specials Insurgents, then, well, I might as well just disclose a few things about them. Nerf Secret Revealed parts, like I said, that's pretty much just the cutaway there, but going back to Facecam Specials Insurgents and my take on Need for Speed personally, the reason why I had raged a lot of it was because there were a lot of unfair moments that I had found. I actually found a lot of things that were worth noting for angry video game nerd or someone like that. I'm not joking around. Someone could actually review the game, and they could probably feel the same kind of pain that I felt in the game itself. Need for Speed Heat is the latest installment in the Need for Speed franchise, but there have been a few problems with it. There's actually been a lot of cases where glitching has occurred, or there were some really unfair cheap shot moments that have taken place. At one point, you could hear me yelling, "What was that? You can't be serious." And trust me or not on this, that was because a freaking cheat took place! If you played the game for yourself, then, well, that's one thing, but if you checked back on that Facecam Specials Insurgents episode, then, well, I'm just going to break it to you. A terrible problem had taken place. A really, really unfair cheat had taken place right then and there. Because basically speaking, of course in the nighttime areas in the game itself are times where the cops can be very, very active. And if they find out you're speeding or something like that, then they will engage in a pursuit. But guess what? There was a time where the car I was driving at that time, had been pulled over because I meant to brake around, and then the cops caught up to me, and then of course the busted meter came up. No surprise. The first time I actually got caught by the officers, there wasn't a busted meter to be found, and I found out why. Because it was camouflaged with the background. It was hard to spot at first. I had no real way of telling whether or not I was going to get busted by them. I just had to wait and find out. But eventually it did happen. I actually found the busted meter eventually. But that was only because the first time I couldn't find it. The reason why that is because of the fact that it was camouflaged in the background itself. It was hard to spot. But eventually, of course, trust me, it got even worse. Because, here's the thing. Of course, my car just got pulled over, tried to brake over around, tried to get away from them. But guess what? They somehow arrested me while I was moving at high speeds. That is a cheat! That is a cheap shot right there! It's the equivalent of many different types of games that James Rolfe has played, and Scott the Woz, Kieran, Justin Silverman, and hundreds of other people out there. Reviewers all across the country, and across the world, and across the universe, and across the space-time continuum. I don't even know what to say anymore. I mean, rage moments are something of a lifetime. It just feels incredible to let out the stress and let it be. I'm dead serious. I mean, how could a game just cheap shot like that? The cops arrest me in Need for Speed Heat even while I was moving. I was moving at high speeds. In real life, that can never be done. A cop can never just latch onto your car like that and risk a life like that. But who knows what kind of person you are or what you're capable of. Because I'm just literally enraged at that moment still. Even though it was just months ago, that's no excuse. It doesn't matter how old something was, or how long ago something took, or how bad it becomes. What matters is that it happened. I witnessed it with my own eyes, I recorded the evidence, and now it's out there for all the world to see. The game sucks. And I'm done. I'm done playing with it. Finally. I was able to get as much footage as I possibly could from the game while I can, and now it's over. I'm done playing Need for Speed Heat, and I pretty much lost my trust in the series itself. Because if some cheat shots, lots of glitches, and some not so sensical things took place in the game itself, because I've played a lot of Need for Speed Heat since I bought it back in November. If you don't recall that milestone challenge that I've done where I purchased the game itself and downloaded it to be able to play on Gaming with Kaiji Force Neo from then on, then well, that's pretty much why. But here, in July of 2020, I'm all done with it. It's been 8 months now, and simply put, the game will deserve a low rating for me. A 3.1! But you know what though? I'm more than lucky to not have played any other horrible PS4 game out there, like Life of Black Tiger, one of the worst things that James Rolfe has tried to play, which sets the bar even lower than everything else, making it the worst game ever. Shouldn't be called a game at all though. That's why the dark red scale, the major code red part of the AVGN scale, is there. For games that don't even qualify as games to begin with. Well, I'd say Need for Speed Heat, it probably doesn't really deserve to go down in the major code red category. Probably closer towards the Jekyll and Hyde zone. So, hopefully James Rolfe can play it soon. I don't know how long we'll have to wait, but I just hope that does happen. But anyways, I'm done with that. Nerf Secret revealed, there were times where I have raged as well, but not necessarily on camera. Unlike what Facecam Specials Insurgents had to offer at the time. But who knows what the next Facecam Specials Insurgents part is going to be like. It might be even better, who knows. But anyways, that's all I got to talk about here. But if you want to see more, go down to my channel. Make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, follow me on social media, and stay on the Hollywood side.